FIFA. It's one of the most recognizable gaming franchises ever made, and the most successful sports video game franchise of all time. It's fueled by the often divisive but undeniably immense company EA Sports, and because of this is almost always on the bleeding edge of innovation and quality. It's a game that year in and year out helps create rivalries and settle arguments between friends. It's spawned many fan websites, publications, podcasts. It's broken world records and sold well over 100 million copies. But none of that happened overnight. So gameranx is now going to take you through the last 22 years of this gaming empire. This is the evolution of FIFA. Like any good story, FIFA had a fairly arduous beginning and requires quite a bit of backstory. According to employees at the time, in the early 90s, Electronic Arts, known better by the acronym EA, wasn't exactly enthused over the idea of a soccer game, especially in the US market. However, the video game giant had been wanting to break into the European market for a while. So they began market research and discovered that a great many video game players in Europe were also very interested in soccer. Between that and some very confident sales predictions, EA gave the green light on the project. After approval, EA courted two young indie developers in the UK named John Law and Jules Burt to use their rare Sega Genesis development kit to create 3 test soccer games. EA decided to go forward with one of those demos, a soccer game created with a unique view of the pitch called an isometric view. It put the game camera off to the side, causing a viewing angle called a parallax. Basically, it was the closest to a broadcast view that had been seen in any soccer game to date. This was one of the main things that would set the game apart in its early iterations from competitors like Sensible Soccer and Kickoff. EA Sports then managed to navigate a minefield of unorganized soccer leagues and clubs to obtain licensure to use the FIFA name for its game, which came for a suspiciously cheap price, but more on that later. Soon thereafter, a team consisting of barely 10 full-time employees got to work on the new game, often working late into the night, flying back and forth to the UK for testing in the target market, and working against the clock to beat competing publisher US Gold to be out before the 1994 World Cup began in the US. Unfortunately, the developers soon realized the suspiciously cheap licensing deal with FIFA included no club or player likenesses, meaning they couldn't use official team names, players, or leagues. So instead, the development team put themselves, their families, and friends into the game. Due to the license issues, the game also did not have its modern equivalent of team totals, including just 48 national teams and one team called the EA All-Stars. The developers were facing some substantial doubt by EA executives over the success of the title in the US, but in Europe, the hype train was rolling full steam ahead, even forcing one competitor to delay their title over fears of having sales affected by FIFA. Despite ample opinions in the US that EA should cancel the game, it was allowed to finish development thanks to a low investment budget and lots of pushing by EA's UK marketing teams. Once it finally released on July 15, 1993, under its official title, FIFA International Soccer, it sold well, like really well, putting out over 500,000 copies in just 4 weeks, rocketing over the anticipated numbers of a total of 300,000 sales in all of Europe. EA Canada had worked their butts off and struck gold because of it. So they began working on the next iteration of the game, officially titled FIFA Soccer 95. Its release didn't see a great number of improvements, but players did see the first official implementation of club teams in the franchise, with teams from the likes of the English Premier League, Italian Serie A, German Bundesliga, and the Spanish La Liga, among others. The teams were very realistic, but they still all had fictional players. FIFA Soccer 95 is also the only title in the main FIFA series to only be released on one console, the Sega Genesis, also known as the Mega Drive in Europe, which was strange considering FIFA International Soccer was released just a year before on 9 total consoles. FIFA Soccer 96 took the stage the following year on July 1st, 1995, and provided the first major graphical improvement in the series by featuring real-time 3D graphics on the Sega Saturn, PlayStation, and PC versions. The series also took a massive step by including the use of some real-life players as well. After FIFA 97 put in a 6-on-6 indoor soccer mode, FIFA 98 Road to the World Cup took the franchise on its first step to what it is today with the inclusion of the first official licensed soundtrack. It featured the likes of Blur, The Crystal Method, and Electric Sky Church. FIFA 98 also saw players begin to receive individualized faces, which was a huge graphical bump, as well as having the first proper implementation of the offside rule. So fast forward to FIFA 2001. The old FIFA licensing agreement had expired and been renegotiated to include much more than the previous few years. And when paired with a brand new graphical engine, EA Canada was finally able to include detailed kits and official club emblems, as well as improvements on the rather rudimentary individual player faces of previous renditions. FIFA 2001 also carried some very interesting and very revolutionary features for the franchise. On the interesting side was the addition of a hack function, which allowed a hard, purposeful foul with the simple press of a button. The revolutionary features were the introduction of online play in the PC version, and it was the first game in the series to have a power bar for shooting, which are both integral features in current titles. Over the next few iterations, a slew of minor features were introduced, but only a handful of major ones. Things like power bars for passing, TV-style broadcast packages, as well as freestyle and off-the-ball controls kept the franchise moving forward, but not exactly at the game-changing pace that had been encountered in the early years of the franchise. That is, until FIFA 06 came around. Facing a stagnating fan base and a high amount of criticism from reviewers over a lack of innovation compared to competitors, EA Canada did what many people at the time thought was undoable during such a short development period, and rewrote half the game's base code. This made a slew of major changes to the gameplay, including a dramatic increase in control and a new, hefty behind-the-scenes system that many current FIFA Ultimate Team players will recognize as the chemistry system, which improves players' stats when paired with players from their same home country, team, or league. FIFA 07 made for another year full of a lot of work for EA Canada. The Xbox 360 edition of the game was developed completely from the ground up specifically for the new console, but it unfortunately came at the cost of a much reduced roster of teams to choose from, failing to include pretty much all of the lower divisions from major leagues around the world. This new engine did, however, allow for the inclusion of yet another big jump in graphics, physics, and more precise controls. FIFA 07 also took kicking and weak foot strength into major consideration, even allowing for the first time for custom spin from free kicks, as well as allowing for better weather effects on the player and the ball. Finesse shots were also introduced, with a greater focus on the differential of shot style and power for each player that changed the relationship players had with space, composure, and technique as well. The next 3 years of FIFA saw features implemented that many players will recognize in current titles. FIFA 08 brought us the popular Be a Pro mode, where gamers can suit up as a single player for an entire match. 08 also saw skill moves adjusted to be a lot closer to how we see them today, being performed with the right thumbstick and able to be chained together to create an immense number of combinations, adding a unique individual style to the gameplay. FIFA 09 made major jumps forward in how weather affected gameplay, adding rain and snow matches to kickoff mode, and different game times being added like day, dusk, and night. However, the big feature edition of 09 was a DLC that had become one of the most popular games in the series today.
FIFA 09 Ultimate Team, a brand new game that allows you to play football like never before.
It's essentially a game mode in which players use digital player cards and build the best team they can with them. It afforded players an opportunity to make their dream team and take them into competition online or against AI team. This mode is so popular it's now being pushed into other EA Sports games as well. Now, FIFA 10 didn't see any major changes from 09, with the exception of the 8-direction dribbling system. The old multi-directional system was substituted for a new and highly realistic 360-degree dribbling mode, giving players the most control yet in the series. Now, FIFA 12 was the next time in the series that we would see huge changes, with the addition of 3 massive features and gameplay upgrades, called the Player Impact Engine, Tactical Defending, and Precision Dribbling. The aptly named Player Impact Engine was in development for several years, improving collision variety, accuracy, and momentum preservation. Following a new attacking AI system put in place in FIFA 13, Developers at EA Canada added the Ignite engine to FIFA 14, making the overall AI more realistic, adding true player emotion, and more realism for game environments like weather and crowd improvements. FIFA 14 also saw added processing power from some of the new coding and overall physics upgrades. Now all of that brings us to the current title, FIFA 16. An adjustment in gameplay speed saw this year's version focus much more on midfield and build-up play, and a lot of the pace advantages players had in FIFA 15 were nerfed for more realistic speed and player stamina. It was also a banner year in the series, seeing women players added to the franchise for the first time ever. EA Canada recorded entirely new animations using prominent players from around the world like Alex Morgan, Sydney Leroux, and Steph Catley. It was also a first time in the franchise that female players have been featured on the cover. Man, FIFA has come a long way from its humble beginnings being put together by the small 10-person team that started it all. So what's been your favorite title in the series? What about your favorite individual upgrade from the last few years? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to click that like button for more content like this. Also, don't forget to subscribe because gameranx posts a new video every single day. Thanks for watching.